The US Vice President Mike Pence is in Japan, where he's due to meet the Prime Minister Shinzo Abe later. Before he left the US, Mr. Pence told reporters he would be telling the truth about North Korea at every stop. This is the start of a trip to Asia, which will take the Vice President to South Korea for the start of the Winter Olympics, which is on Friday. Well, let's get the latest, because joining us from Tokyo is our correspondent Rupert Wingfield-Hayes. Rupert, obviously a visit to Japan is a big deal in itself, but it does feel as if North Korea looms over pretty much the whole of Mr. Pence's trip.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, David. I mean, Mr. Pence has just released a statement ahead of his meeting with Prime Minister Abe, which he's in now, saying that he stood shoulder to shoulder with his Japanese allies and they had come to discuss efforts to put crippling pressure on North Korea to abandon its nuclear efforts. Well, I'd say, he's not going to find any problem with that here, because, Japan is not the issue. Japan and America really see completely eye to eye on putting tougher sanctions on North Korea, on trying to squeeze North Korea economically and force it to come to the negotiating table. The issue for Vice President Pence and for the Japanese government is other countries around this region are not necessarily completely on board, and that may include South Korea, which has had this charm offensive unleashed on it by North Korea in the run-up to the Winter Olympics, with athletes coming and cheerleaders coming and a band arriving to play to South Korean crowds. So North Korea really is putting the charm on the South Korean government, and I think there is a little bit of concern here in Tokyo and in Washington that charm offensive may have an effect and that it might weaken South Korea's resolve. And of course there are other countries around the region as well, in Southeast Asia and as far away as Africa, which America believes is not applying sanctions against North Korea as tightly as should be.
Right, with that sort of tough approach coming from the US and Japan, Rupert, as Mr. Pence heads to the Olympics themselves, there will be very senior North Korean officials present. What chance of a meeting, or do you think that's completely fanciful?
Well, there has been a lot of course, speculation. Mr. Pence will be at the opening ceremony along with Kim Jong-nam, the number 2 in North Korea, the president of North Korea, although he is still, of course, number 2 to Kim Jong-un. And now we've just heard in the last few minutes North Korea saying that they're going to send Kim Yo-jong, who is North Korea dictator Kim Jong-un's younger sister, is going to go to South Korea. So, well, they will be in the same stadium together. Whether they will have any chance to meet or not, certainly Mr. Pence's delegation is playing down speculation. But there is a chance that they might sort of just have a chat or bump into each other as they line up to get into the stadium, into the VIP area. But they're very much playing down the opportunity or the desire to hold any realistic talks at this time. The Americans saying this is not the right time for talks. North Korea needs to back down and stop its nuclear tests and its missile tests first before America is willing to sit down for real talks.
Rupert, thanks very much indeed.